Okay, so today here we are with Ahmed Zaif, the executive administrator for Granville College.
Hello, hello.
So, Ahmed, how are you doing today? It's a
I
lovely, lovely day
yeah,
in Vancouver.
it's a lovely day. It's raining. We can't even
Yeah.
see anything outside. But I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for asking, Anne. I mean, it's going really well. Very busy time period of the year, but things are going very smooth.
How's work going? I would
Work.
really love to know what you do.
Oh, that's
Because all I see you're doing everything.
yeah, yeah.
But if you can detail it out, what is exactly that you do?
Okay, for me, since I've started working here, this is like almost a year and a half now for Granville. First time, this is like I'm working in education, and every time somebody asks me what I do for this company or what I do for Granville College, to me, it's such a loaded question because as you said, even after a year and a half, I don't know what my job description is because kinda it just happened when I joined. We were a very small college with a campus on Dunsmuir Street only, in downtown Vancouver, two rooms, two classrooms only. Now we have two campuses, Vancouver, sorry, two floors in Vancouver. So the role, when I came in, there was so much that needed to be done, so the role kind of developed in a way that, even though my title says executive administrator, and when I go and look to see what other executive administrators are doing, that is like, my role is entirely different than that. But yeah, the best way would be to say that I do a little bit of everything over here. So
Perfect.
but primarily what I was hired for, and primarily the biggest part of my time over here goes with helping out our international students. So the entire student life cycle for our international students, from beginning to the end, is kind of taken care of by myself and my team. Primarily my team, and then I just help in where I can.
Well, that's so great. We have also opened in Surrey recently. So
Yeah.
how has that been? Opening in like two places, growing at such a pace.
Mhm.
That seems like a big change. So
Mm.
how has that affected? Has that,
That was,
been
yeah.
a bit of pressure, and how you dealt with it?
Uh, Pressure, yes. It kind of really changed how my day looks like. It just basically, what happened was, like, I again, Vancouver, very small place. We in the same time, we moved within this. All the growth that we've seen, or the massive growth that we've seen, happened within this year. So I'll give you an example. Just last year, we were dealing with about the highest number of students we got in an intake was 250. But this year, just in January, we almost welcomed 1,000 international students. So our growth has been significant, and it kind of all happened within this year. So we are still trying to learn and understand how to adopt with this massive number of students that was given to us. It's actually an opportunity because now I know that my team and my the facilities we have, we're capable enough to host 1,000 students at one time if they're given to us. So it just gives you an opportunity to test your limits. But it has been very challenging. Yes, there are times in a week where find myself switching between Surrey, Vancouver, and just even if we're taking transit, you can realize it takes 40 plus
Oh
minutes to
yeah, it
get here.
does.
That is a very challenge. That the commute is a very challenging part of my job, but it's been good. It's been fun. We have gotten exponentially busy since we've opened up this new campus. But all in all, I see that the brand I started with, the brand where it is right now, just
Yeah.
the team has grown significantly. I'm happy. I'm very happy. It's challenging, but it is very rewarding work.
I think for both of the campuses, the fact that they are near to the SkyTrain stations,
Mm-hmm.
that is a big
That
plus for
that is a
students
huge. Oh
because
yeah,
there are so many colleges and universities that are so far apart
exactly.
that it's very hard to
Mm-hmm.
commute. So the Grand College at least
Mm.
make sure that it is easier to commute for students.
It gives us a very unique advantage of being so close to the SkyTrain stations for both the campuses.
Yeah,
The unique advantage is, how our layout for this campus is.
of course.
We can this campus is designed to accommodate students to have classes, but like in terms of sitting an admin team over here and things like that, we just get that advantage now. I have a student who's taking their class in Surrey the morning, and then they have some admin help that they require from because majority of our admin team sits in Vancouver. I spend more time in the week in Vancouver. So basically, throughout the same day, it's possible for the student to take their class and then go to our Vancouver campus. So in a way, even though we're in two different cities, if you look at it very technically, but our campuses are still very interconnected,
Of
and
course, of
it
course.
all the credit goes to our management for selecting locations that are just very accessible, because again, these are students that came, these are international students, and the priority is to make things as simple as for them as possible,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think this was one of the biggest things that we looked at while opening this campus up.
Perfect. So before we head to the main topic,
Hmm.
the main agenda that we are going to discuss today is what a student needs to succeed here in Canada, both for international and domestic students. I would really like to know what really helps a student stands out if he's from Granville College with regards to the practical experience that they are getting,
Hmm.
the hybrid classes that they're getting, or
Hmm.
the personalized attention that they're getting.
Hmm.
So, what are the things that help students,
Hmm.
grow if they are getting out of Granville
I just want
College?
to first start by saying that's an excellent question. And I mean, I would say within the team, I consider myself to be the one who's most equipped to answer that question, because of there's a bunch of reasons. First, I was an international student in Canada myself. It seems like a lifetime ago, but I
Yeah,
came here like back in 2015. I've studied in SFU. I've been through that entire life cycle of a international student. There are times a student is sitting with me and I can relate to what is it that they're going through, because I have been through that. I won't say exact. I mean, again, human experiences are very distinct. I don't want
of
to
course.
generalize it, but I feel that there are a lot of times I can exactly relate to what that other person, especially international students, going through. So yes, I'll answer that question. That the advantages that you have, I even compare it to my experience going to a reputed university like Simon Fraser, but when I compare it to Granville, and the advantages a student that comes to study with us can get within the first couple of months, or by finishing the program with us, is like we are not a large scale university. We don't have like 15-20,000 students that are coming in every year. We are a smaller operation still, even with all our growth, we're a smaller operation right now. What does it mean for the student? It means for the student, every class we have, you will not find more than 20 students, which,
Yeah,
if you look at the industry standard, the ratio of the instructor to students is just amazing. You get one-on-one support. Our instructors, because again, we are a career college, we're not a
yeah,
university, our instructors give one-on-one attention to each and every student. There's field trips, there's actually real life experiences. I see, in when I was in, okay, I'll give you an example just about the personal experience that Granville can provide to students. I When I got placed on my co-op with Simon Fraser University, I had to do 80% of the work myself. I had to find something, I had to apply to it, I had to work on my resume.
yeah.
There was no general, like, again, not to badmouth any organization, but the thing is that I'm just talking from experience,
Of course, of course.
so I had to majority of the work myself. But when I see Granville, yes, we have practicums that are only for 2 weeks. We have practicums that are for 12 weeks and things like that. But I see that just one thing, that we are much more, well versed, and we have more personalized support for international students, especially, is employment services. We have such a good ratio of placing all our students on practicums, getting them that real life experience in Canada, in their industry before their graduation, just that little bit of a taste of what that world is going to look like once they graduate from us. So that way, in a lot of aspects, because we can provide personalized attention to our students,
Yeah.
that way I feel that we have that advantage, where if a student is studying with us, they just get that opportunity to be able to grow more, learn more, and spend some more time with their instructor to
Yeah.
get the skills that they actually require to grow in that career.
Well, that is actually a wonderful
Thank
answer.
you. Thank you.
With regards to the skills and how students go enter a college or a university, I would like to know from your perspective or from your learnings, what is something a student should keep in mind when they are heading to a university or a college,
Mm.
especially when they're coming out of school? There
Oh,
are
yeah.
so many students, domestic, international, regardless of that. There are so many students who step into college, they get this new sense of freedom, they get this new set of people,
Mhm,
right?
mhm, mhm,
So what would you recommend to a student who is, in his 12th grade
mhm.
and,
Perfect.
rooting to go to a
Or and
college
then
or
planning to come to
university?
Canada, Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So excellent question. So I'll tell you. This is again from experience, my personal experience. This is also from what I have seen since I've been working with
Yeah.
international students at Granville. So I think if you are somebody who's planning to come and study, especially being an international student today in Canada's climate, I would say Canada, Australia, all these countries, which have a very similar. The biggest challenge that I find, which somehow we were lucky enough when I came here, is this skill we had kind of learned, and it is helping us to date. Is I find a lot of our students, yes, they gave English placement tests and they have those skills, but a lot of I think, especially I would say the students coming from like different countries, they cannot adopt right off the bat to North American culture, because North American culture, I feel, especially if I compare it to where I am coming from, if I compare it to the other places that I may have worked at or interacted with, we are very heavily reliant on electronic communication,
Yeah.
over here. Like, from my boss to any student that I need to communicate something important to, we are very heavily reliant on communicating through emails. There's no concept of picking the phone up and calling somebody and telling them this needs to be done,
Yeah.
because everybody likes to have things in writing in North America.
Exactly.
So one of my biggest thing is, like, you're a student, you're in the 12th grade, you're about to graduate, you have a good percentage, and now you're planning to come to Canada, you've given your English placement tests.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest challenges that I face in day to day with my students is that they're not able to communicate across their point
Yeah.
effectively. So communication and working on those skills is such a big thing when you're coming to another country to study, because even finding a job, getting things like that, I think I was successful to find a job in Canada within the first 3 months of coming here. The only reason was that I used to email out to all the employers that I wanted to work with, and right away just send them an email. This is who I am. This is what I know. I would love the opportunity. This is who I am. But unfortunately, I feel, again, in my experience, there could be a large population of students that is equipped with this skill. In my experience, if there's one skill that I can teach or I can request these students coming in, especially from, like, and another country to Canada, would be learn how to type an email, learn how to communicate, and learn, just do some mock interviews, do, like, a lot of the people coming in, as you said, are coming from 12th grade directly, so they don't really have any work experience in between.
Yeah.
Majority of them, their first jobs are in Canada, and I see that. I feel in today's climate in Canada, the biggest struggle that the students are facing, especially international students, is that they're not able to find work right off the bat. I would say you don't need to know any special skill. You don't need to do anything. You just need to be able to communicate. You just need to be able to type an email. It'll get you in places. It'll do wonders for you,
Yeah.
because that is the North American culture or North American way to work.
Even with the, I think for international students, I would say networking and coffee chats is also very important, right?
Mhm.
Without that, there is no point. And I feel like when you're having coffee chat,
Mhm.
I treat my coffee chats as podcast, even
Uh-huh.
though I have a job now,
Uh-huh.
but I still have these coffee chats.
Uh-huh.
It's like this sense of,
Mhm.
finding something new with every new person that I talk to,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So that is also
Mhm.
very beneficial.
Mhm.
So
Should
I'd
we?
like, with regards to communication and
Mhm.
everything, we've discussed movies as well.
Mhm.
What do you read books? Because I feel like sometimes, books can give you some amazing caveats. Because I read this book and it nudged me to ask what else.
Mhm.
Whenever someone says something,
Mhm.
I just ask what else, and then they open up,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
And I just keep flirting with these ideas
Mhm.
of asking more questions to people and getting to know them deeper, because you know what they say, if people will only be interested in you if you are interested in them.
Mhm. Mm.
right? So, what do you think about that?
So, great question about books. Yes, there was a time in my life, especially in the early part of my 20s, where I used to be into reading a lot. There was a time I was reading like 3 to 4 books a week. You know, I was
Wow.
just really into it. A couple of good titles that I can think of right now is I recommend everybody to read The Alchemist. You know, it's one of my all-time favorite books by,
I can.
yeah, yeah. I just love that book. And then I would always recommend people to read The Kite Runner. Beautiful story, you know, beautiful story. You get to learn about loss and struggle and still getting up and living, you know, just continue, because life is continuous. You got to and then I would say much more recently a book that kind of stuck in my head was Sapiens, you know.
Oh,
So
yes.
Sapiens is an excellent book. It teaches you a lot about why things are the way they are and how they started, you know. But today, I just do not get the chance or the opportunity to learn from books as much as I used to. Things have gotten busy. Work is like very prolonged and things like that. But in today's world, I do find a lot of times. I'm a big documentary person, you know, and time to time. And Netflix is my best friend in that aspect. And I'm as much time as I spend watching shows, I'm watching documentaries.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to circle back to that thing you asked about what my favorite movie was. And then if I've learned something from books, I just want to summarize it by giving you one show that I love. And I might have watched it 15, 16 times now. But when we talk about how students or people who are getting to start their careers can learn about how the North American corporate culture works, like, and it's still relevant. The funny thing is, this is a 15-year-old show or 10-year-old show and it's still relevant is The Office, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I just love The Office. And if you know, you've worked with me for quite some time, you're like, you can, day to day, you can hear the references I give from Office because I just love that show, you
Yeah.
know. It's just, it has taught me so much about how the corporate culture in North America works that I strive to be a good manager, but at the back of my mind, I'm striving to be Michael Scott, honestly. You know,
Fair
like,
point. It is a satire though, so
yeah.
don't take the show very literally, but do get
Yeah,
some cackle
yeah.
laughs
Like,
whenever you can.
if whenever I'm stuck and whenever I'm not able to make a decision, I ask myself, what would Michael Scott do? You know, and I kind of do that. It's been working out for me. But jokes apart, it is a very good show. It teaches you a lot about how the corporate culture works. It teaches you a lot about, you know, managing. It teaches you a lot about like how to present yourself and how to get the job done. You know, one of the best things that I liked about Michael, if you are into that show and you progress onto the seasons where the middle seasons like 4 or 5, fourth or fifth season is like they've shown that Michael is the top most performer, but he's the most unorthodox methods. You know,
Yeah.
so and that happens because he keeps telling his he's one person who just doesn't say it for the sake of saying it
Yeah.
to his office that they're all a family. He actually behaves like that, and that way he's got a group of dysfunctional people working for him, but it kind of still is the top most performing team just because he's figured out how to work with them. So in the same way, I feel that a lot of the careers, a lot of the jobs, I would say, that we have in North America, they don't require you to be highly skilled in something until unless like programming and things or you're an engineer and whatnot. Majority of the everyday jobs that that pay really well and that also can grow into significant careers are places where you're able to crack how to work with other people. So again, I would say if anybody wants to learn how things work in offices in North America, it is still relevant. I would ask them to watch that show and watch it from the point of view of learning something out of it. It's the funniest show I have ever seen, but I have still been able to learn a lot from it.
Yeah, you learn what not to say.
And what to say at some
Yeah,
points as
what
well.
to
Yeah,
say at
yeah,
some
yeah,
points.
yeah.
Well, I think this has been a very interesting and a very fun conversation, and I hope our viewers will get to learn something, read the books, watch the movies and the series recommended in this show. And I'd really like to thank you for joining us on this podcast. You've been a
Mhm.
great host.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Mm.
yeah, you've been a great guest, actually. Sorry.
Yeah. And just one thing I want to add here is that, see, I'm hoping that majority of our students listen to this and they, I just want to say something and I'm going to address it to the people watching is like, you'll see me both our campuses, Surrey, Vancouver. See, we are the student services department, but this is what I tell to all my students during orientation and whatnot. We have been living here in this city for quite some time. We know how things work. We know the best places to hang out, and we are at the end of it people. So my recommendation is, if you see us around, if you see us in any of the campuses, stop, say hello. Because I make it my habit. I love talking to students. I love listening to people's individual stories and realizing where they're coming from, what they're doing right now, what they're planning to do in the future. So the idea is that you have a group of people within the college, the administration, the instructors, whose only primary aim is for you to succeed, and we are here, we're going to provide you with the tools that you require to succeed. But our only ask from you is to come and talk to us. That's all I would like to say to our students.
Thank
But yeah.
you. And for last things last,
Mhm.
I'd like you to say two things.
Okay.
First is get job ready with Granville College. So you need to look into the camera and
Okay.
say get
Okay.
job ready with Granville
Okay.
College.
Okay. Get job ready with Granville College.
Yes. And the second thing that I'd like to say is subscribe, like, share, and comment.
Okay, please, if you want to see more of me and if you want to see more of my hand, if you want to see us talk about things, please subscribe, like, share, and comment. Your engagement is what keeps us going. We spend a significant amount of time in getting these things ready, and it's all for you. So if we can get that engagement from you guys, it makes us the happiest people there is.
Thank you so
Of
much,
course.
Ahmed.
Thank you
Been
so
a
much.
great
Thank you for your
sport.
time.
Thank you.